2017-02, and the war in Syria. Jerry Condon will speak on the board's behalf on our position. So Jerry, you want to come here and read that resolution then?
Does that have to be read first? Okay.
Well, it might be.
Yeah. Therefore.
I think that covers it. So you want to explain about the.
I could read the entire resolution, or I'll read the therefores. What do you prefer?
Therefore.
Okay. Therefore, be it, and I'm going to need the screen moved up. Well, I have a copy here.
There you go.
Okay.
Oh yeah. Be further resolved.
Okay.
It's up there.
Hmm?
It's up there. It's on the board. I mean, screen.
What? Okay, therefore be it resolved that Veterans for Peace calls for the withdrawal of all foreign military forces from Syria, including those of the U.S., Russia, and Iran, and all others. 2, serious international diplomacy at the highest priority towards the goal of a negotiated settlement between warring Syrian parties. Be it further resolved that VFP for Peace members and supporters are urged to further their knowledge of the origin and ongoing development of the Syrian conflict by exposing themselves to news and opinions from a wide variety of sources and viewpoints, including those of Syrians themselves, and to avoid simplistic formulations of the complex conflict in Syria.
Here you go.
Be it further resolved that VFP members and supporters are urged to follow the VFP principle of healing the wounds of war by working with and contributing to humanitarian projects that provide urgently needed medical, shelter, and educational assistance to the millions of Syrian refugees worldwide. Submitted by Andrew Berman, VFP Chapter 27. All right, so
I think we should tell you the board at the board being voted, no, 0 yeses, 9 noes, and 2 abstentions. Jerry will explain the rationale.
right. So the VFP Board of Directors recommends a no vote on Resolution 2017-02 calling for an end of the war in Syria. Of course, we want to see an end of the war in Syria, as we have stated repeatedly in the past, including in a resolution adopted overwhelmingly last year. On the face of it, this resolution appears to be a rather benign and well-intended proposition. If you look closer, however, and you know a bit about the war in Syria, you will see something else. It is not so much what is in the resolution, it is what is not in the resolution. It gives a big pass to the extensive and multifaceted U.S. war in Syria. This resolution does not acknowledge that for years the U.S. Central Intelligence Agency and the Pentagon have been arming and training so-called rebels, both jihadis and quote-unquote moderates. This resolution does not mention that the U.S. military has been bombing extensively in Syria. They have bombed ISIL, they have bombed the Syrian army, and they are right now bombing population centers, causing a great number of deaths among civilian men, women, elders, and children. This resolution does not mention that the stated goal of the U.S. intervention has been regime change in Syria. That is, the overthrow of the internationally recognized government of Syria, one of the last secular, tolerant, multi-religious states in the Middle East. This resolution does not mention that U.S. ground forces are now in Syria, establishing bases with the apparent intention of a long-term occupation and the carving up of Syria into smaller states with governments who cannot stand up against U.S. and Israeli domination in the region. This resolution only calls for an end to U.S. military intervention in Syria in the context of the withdrawal of all foreign forces, including Russia, Iran, and Turkey. It fails to distinguish between those forces that are in Syria legally with the intent to overthrow the Syrian government, that would be the U.S. and Turkey, among others, and those forces who are in Syria legally having been invited by the Syrian government to help defend it against foreign aggression. That would be Russia and Iran, among others. This resolution urges VFP members to better inform themselves about the complex war in Syria and to avoid simplistic solutions. By simplistic solutions, we understand the author to mean pointing out the U.S. role in stoking the war in Syria and calling for an immediate end to all U.S. intervention in Syria. We do not believe that is simplistic. We believe that is sticking to the statement of purpose of Veterans for Peace to, quote, to restrain our governments from intervening overtly and covertly in the internal affairs of other nations. The VFP Board of Directors recommends a no vote on this resolution 2017-02. It would be a big step back from previous VFP resolutions and statements which make a clear and unambiguous call for an end to U.S. intervention in Syria.
Okay, so thank you, Jerry. Now, if you have comments, you want to discuss, you're in favor of this resolution, come up to your left. If you're against the resolution, you want to come to your right. If there's no discussion, watch out.
I'm Bill Perry. I'm an at-large member who works with New York 34, North Jersey 21, South Jersey 96, and oftentimes DC's Chapter 16, in addition to national. That's why you can see me around here and there and the other place too. I'd like to congratulate the board for voting correctly 9-0 on this resolution. And the way I read it is not so much what we've had enshrined in VFP resolutions over the years, beginning back in 2005, but what's enshrined in the United Nations resolutions. In my opinion, would stop the entire problem of imperialism and colonialism really came to fore in the 60s when resolutions like self-determination were passed, and self-determination became something that allowed everyone to oppose colonialism. And that basically, if you look at the ODED Union Plan and some of the things that the nation of the United States is trying to do, this has to be opposed, and I congratulate the board.
Okay, thank you. That was a con. Any pro? If you are in favor of this resolution, come up to your left and announce yourself, identify yourself. I guess there is someone coming into, okay. Come on up here. You can.
Microphone's up here.
Your microphone's up here. Please identify yourself, please.
Can I suggest the two microphones move back where they are now and just stay back here?
That's fine. Yeah, if that's easier. Yeah.
Yeah. It's just
Okay.
easier for people to get in there.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Okay. Thank you for the suggestion. Good.
Hello,
All right.
I'm Mary McNellis, Chapter 27, and I think the U.S. needs to get out of Syria. I think it's pretty simple. Nobody should be there. The Syrians need to resolve it. That's all I have to say.
Thank you. Is there a vote? Is there another person that wants to speak in opposition to the proposed resolution? If you do, come up to Tommy there. Tommy, raise your hand. Tommy, raise your hand. Tom, let them know where you're at. Okay. If they're to speed up the process, if you know you're in opposition to it, start coming up here to the left so you can grab the microphone right away.
39 Cleveland and the Golden Rule Project. I agree with everything the board said about this resolution. It's doesn't do justice to the role of the United States. I met with Dennis Kucinich, a number of us did a few months ago, and there's another area where this resolution is incomplete and doesn't mention an important thing. He calls the Syrian civil war a Saudi project. So it should mention Saudi intervention, a resolution should. Probably the Emirates, maybe Qatar, but it's very incomplete. Thanks.
Thank you, Skip. Anyone else want to speak on the resolution in favor of it? Okay, no one speaking in favor as a motion to call the question? Call the question, Alan Barfield, second? Second, that gentleman with your hand up, who are you? I didn't hear that. Keith Orchard? Yes. Did you get that? Monique? Yes. Good, okay. So, if you're in favor of this resolution, please raise your hand and we'll count your vote. See one person, that's easy. Okay, one recorded vote. Those opposed, raise your hand. Yeah. Put your hand down once you're counted. It makes it easier for count. Yeah, sure. You have 24.
What'd you get?
Oh, you got that.
You got 24?
I had 24.
24 and 36? 60, okay. So the 60 votes are opposed, 1 yes, 60 no. Abstentions? Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 abstentions. So the vote is 1 yes, 60 no, 6 abstentions. You have that, Monique? Yes. Okay. Moving on to the Democratic Republic of Korea meeting. Oh, it's just because I'm not close to it. I already asked for it.